You cannot trust someone who will do anything for you. So today we're going to discuss two Hollywood sort of tropes that are glorified, but in fact lead to someone being not very trustworthy if they were to embody such tropes. So the first one, that is consistent with the title of this video, is not being able to trust someone who will do anything for you. So a common structure for romantic comedies is to have a guy who is absolutely obsessed with something. It could be like a sports team, it could be like cars, it could be whatever it is. And he starts falling for this girl, and then there is some sort of conflict that arises from his interest in both the girl and the thing, and he gives up the thing to be with the girl, and that's how the conflict is resolved, usually with some sort of chasing after her in the airport sort of thing at the last minute, when he realizes that this girl is way more important to him than his passion. Okay? The second sort of trope is this hyper interest in winning type of thing, usually in like athlete movies where you just like want it badly enough, and it's all about wanting it badly enough, and if you want it badly enough you get what you want, and it's this hardworking athlete, which hard work is good, but the point is that one person just wants it more, and that as a consequence they are victorious. Okay, so from a movie making perspective, both of these make a whole lot of sense because they make you only have like 2 hours to do a movie. You have to have rising action, climax, falling action. It makes it very easy to set up conflict and rising action and the parts that make a movie a good movie. So I'm not suggesting that movies shouldn't do this, but I am suggesting that if you internalize these as models of the way the world is or the way the world should be, you can lead to it can lead to bad outcomes in a couple of ways. And the reason why is the structure of both of these types of things is you're elevating an external element way above your values in terms of importance. Whether it is being in a relationship with someone or winning in an abstract sense. So let's talk about the winning first, why it's problematic. There's multiple studies that show that as you make kids more competitive, they're more likely to cheat. And this is, okay, this shouldn't come as a surprise, but then you look at professional sports, and there are a lot of sports where everyone who's doing well in that sport is on steroids. And they are just very clearly cheating. And, you have the everybody does it sort of excuse, but everyone knows that they're cheating, right? And that if someone were to compete fairly within the rules, that they wouldn't do well. And so it becomes this meta sort of thing where you're operating outside the rules in order to win, and it's just a matter of not getting caught. And like sports like cycling was super dirty. I don't know if they cleaned that up. But it's just very widespread. And if it was more important to people to either have integrity, play by the rules, not lie, not cheat, then they wouldn't they wouldn't do well in the sports because steroids are really effective. But they also wouldn't feel this enormous pressure to cheat. And so because their self-worth is tied to their external performance, they are willing to compromise other values in order to achieve that. And you have the same sort of thing with the rom-com type of thing. Now, the rom-com story looks very cute, but someone who is willing to do anything to be with you, if you're not interested in being with them, is actually very stalkerish, creepy behavior, for starters. And secondly, when someone is willing to do anything to be with you, include giving up whatever is important to them, then that is indicative that they are perhaps willing to violate other aspects of their values, such as honesty, right? And so, if someone is willing to do anything to be with you, they're also willing to lie to you to be with you, which is, perhaps that's romantic in some sense, but it does mean that you can't trust them as much as you could if their own integrity was worth more to them than being with you. And so, it leads to both of these types of considerations, both with the sports and the relationship, are stemming from this this Hollywood elevation of like an external thing, which, just to be clear, it's much easier to elevate, in terms of narrative, it's much easier to elevate an external thing, like winning a title or being in a relationship and having a picture-perfect marriage, than it is to elevate something that's abstract, such as, honesty, process orientation, hard work, that sort of thing. And in a movie, you're there to get views, not to impart, nuanced value schemas onto your viewers. But the point is this elevation of an external thing, it's important to have like interests, but if ever the external thing becomes so important that nothing else is important, then there becomes problems. And so you would be better off, as a competitor, if you tie your sense of worth to your performance entirely, you are going to be in for a wild ride, unless you're just the best in the world. And, perhaps you should value other things. And then, the way you get to where you're going is important. And, just cheating to try and compete, I suppose you can do it, but there's obviously going to be some cognitive dissonance caused by that, right? Because even if you do win, then you win knowing that you cheated, and okay, maybe you can justify that to yourself, being like, everyone does it, or maybe you can't, and you just like feel guilty. But it doesn't have the sweet victory that it would have. And then if you don't cheat and everyone else is cheating, I mean, at least you have if your integrity is important to you, you have your integrity, if not, like, performing well. As far as the relationship stuff goes, I think that getting someone to sacrifice something that's important to them, in order to be with you, or if someone does that in order to be with you, I think it's extraordinarily validating, right? Because it's like, it demonstrates that you have they place a lot of value on you, and in that sense it's good. But if they are willing to do that repeatedly, then it becomes evident that you can't trust them. And also, I don't think that they really can do that repeatedly and on a constant basis, because after they sacrifice something that appeared to be worth more than anything else to them in order to be with you, they can't do that again and again, because now the important thing that has been elevated is you. And so perhaps that's what you want, but if that is the appearance of things, then what you're wanting is to be on a pedestal, which, as opposed to maybe more of an equal, like, give and take sort of relationship, which would not have the same sort of highs as, this major sacrifice that is the rom-com special of, which is just not sustainable, but it makes for a good story. Anyways, as far as discussion goes, does anyone have any examples of things that instances where overvaluing external things leads to problematic behavior. I can think of a couple more that I'm not going to expand upon, but for example, Enron or stocks, or not stocks, but companies placing higher values on their bottom line and getting themselves into trouble that way. Enron was very greedy, let's say, and fudged the numbers, and they brought down the downfall of their own company, which otherwise probably would have done all right. Although I don't know too much about Enron specifically. Or a lot of these have to do with either competition or like external validation, I think. An interesting book related to these is Carol Dweck's Mindset, where the fixed mindset is constantly requires validation, and so external things become very important. Yeah, if you can think of any examples that are interesting, let me know. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you want to see more content, feel free to subscribe, and have a good one.